Daily Stoic.
Welcome. Today, we'll dive into the fascinating world of psychological traps, subtle mental pitfalls that affect our decision-making and behavior. By understanding these traps, we can make better choices and lead a more mindful life. Psychological traps are cognitive biases and errors in thinking that often operate subconsciously, influencing our decisions without us realizing it. By being aware of them, we can improve our critical thinking skills and make more informed choices. We'll discuss several common psychological traps such as confirmation bias, the anchoring effect, and the availability heuristic. We'll also explore loss aversion, the sunk cost fallacy, overconfidence bias, and hindsight bias. Each of these traps can significantly impact our everyday decisions. So why is it important to understand psychological traps? Being aware of these biases helps us safeguard against poor judgment and unintentional mistakes. It allows us to recognize skewed thinking and correct our course of action. Stay with us as we uncover these psychological traps and learn actionable strategies to overcome them. Let's set the stage for a more mindful, informed approach to decision-making. First, let's talk about confirmation bias. This bias is the tendency to seek out, interpret, and remember information that supports our preconceptions while ignoring or discounting contrary evidence. It can lead us to become overly confident in our beliefs and skew our perception of reality. For instance, if you believe a particular diet is the best, you might only read articles that support your view and ignore studies that suggest otherwise. This can have significant impacts on our decision-making, as we might make choices based on incomplete or biased information. By understanding confirmation bias, we can strive to seek out a balanced view and make more informed decisions. Next, we have the anchoring effect. This psychological trap occurs when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information presented to us, known as the anchor, when making decisions. This initial information can significantly influence our subsequent judgments, even if it is irrelevant. For example, imagine you're shopping and see a high price on a product at first glance. Any lower price you see afterward may seem like a great deal, even if it's still overpriced. This anchoring can skew our perception of value. Understanding the anchoring effect allows us to critically evaluate information and make more rational choices by being aware of this subconscious influence. The availability heuristic is our tendency to overestimate the importance of information that comes to mind quickly. Often, this is because the information is either recent or emotionally charged. This shortcut can lead us to misjudge how common or likely certain events actually are. Imagine you've recently seen several news reports about airplane accidents. Even though flying remains statistically safe, these vivid reports might make you believe air travel is far more dangerous than it actually is. Recognizing the availability heuristic allows us to assess situations more rationally, helping us make better, more informed choices. Loss aversion is a fascinating psychological trap that impacts our decision-making. It refers to our strong preference to avoid losses rather than acquire equivalent gains. Essentially, the pain of losing is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. This can lead individuals to adopt risk-averse behaviors. For example, someone might pass on an investment opportunity that could yield substantial benefits simply because the fear of losing money overshadows the possible gains. By understanding loss aversion, we can recognize when this bias is at play and make balanced decisions that consider both potential risks and rewards. The sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias where we persist with an endeavor once we've invested resources like time, effort, or money, even if it's no longer beneficial. This bias stems from our reluctance to waste what we've already committed. For example, imagine watching a movie that isn't enjoyable, but you continue watching simply because you're halfway through. The investment made compels us to see it through, despite diminishing returns. Recognizing this bias can help us make more rational decisions by encouraging us to assess future benefits rather than past investments. Overconfidence bias is when we overestimate our abilities, knowledge, or control over a situation. This mental pitfall can lead us to take unnecessary risks, believing we are more capable than we actually are. For instance, think about driving. When you're overly confident in your driving skills, You might speed or take dangerous shortcuts, putting yourself and others at risk. In investing, overconfidence might push you to make bold financial decisions without adequate research, potentially resulting in significant losses. This bias isn't just limited to high-stakes areas. It can affect everyday decisions as well. Mitigating overconfidence bias lies in self-awareness and honesty about our true capabilities. Regularly seek feedback from others and embrace a mindset of continuous learning. By recognizing and correcting for overconfidence bias, we can make more balanced and informed choices. Hindsight bias is when we see events as having been predictable after they have already occurred. This bias can lead us to believe we knew it all along, when in reality, predicting the outcome beforehand was difficult. Imagine hearing about a company's unexpected financial success. After the fact, you convince yourself that this outcome was obvious, even though there were numerous variables at play. This bias can impact our decision-making, leading us to overestimate our ability to foresee future events. It distorts our perception of past events and influences future decisions. By understanding hindsight bias, we can approach our analyses and reflections with a critical mind, avoiding the trap of believing everything was obvious after it unfolded. Psychological traps influence not only the way we think, but also various aspects of our lives. Let's explore how these cognitive biases can affect our financial decisions, personal relationships, and more. In finance, traps such as confirmation bias and loss aversion can lead to suboptimal investment choices. One might persistently invest in a failing stock due to a prior belief in its potential, overlooking contrary evidence. Loss aversion may prevent taking calculated risks that could yield substantial gains. In personal relationships, biases like the sunk cost fallacy can make individuals cling to unhealthy or unfulfilling situations purely based on past investments. Overconfidence bias might lead us to overestimate our control in relationships, causing unrealistic expectations and disappointments. By understanding the broad impact of these traps, we recognize the invisible forces guiding our choices and behavior. Overcoming psychological traps is crucial for better decision-making and a mindful life. To start, practice critical thinking. Question assumptions and seek out evidence that contradicts your beliefs. Engage with diverse viewpoints. Conversations with people of different experiences can broaden your perspective. Also, regularly reflect on your decisions to understand if biases influenced your choices. Commit to continuous education. Stay informed about cognitive biases and their manifestations in everyday situations. By incorporating these strategies into your daily life, you enhance your decision-making skills and navigate challenges with greater awareness and confidence. In summary, we've explored various psychological traps and their influence on our decision-making. Recognizing these traps empowers us to critically assess our decisions and mitigate their impact. Awareness is the first step toward improvement. Employ critical thinking, seek diverse perspectives, reflect on your thoughts, and commit to continuous learning. These strategies help you navigate these traps effectively and make choices that align with your goals. Understanding psychological phenomena promotes a more mindful approach to life. Stay vigilant and educated to make choices that reflect your goals and values. Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey. Continue to question, learn, and grow. Your mind is a powerful tool. Use it wisely. Thank you for joining us on this journey through psychological traps. If you found this video enlightening, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support allows us to bring valuable content that empowers better decision-making. There's always more to learn, so stay tuned for more deep dives into fascinating topics. Ready to explore more about your mind and behavior? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stay curious, stay mindful, and let's keep exploring together.
Daily Stoic. Daily Stoic.